Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. Hope you're doing well. It's day 113 of 365. And I thought, well, I might as well check in, let you know I'm still chugging away here, creating daily content for the year 2026. Day 113. Wow. Yeah, I guess I should have come back at like day 100. That would have made sense. Anyway, I'm here at day 113. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the lessons I've been learning along the way of creating daily content, 365 days straight, and some motivation tips to help me keep going, how I keep myself going, and staying ahead in this world of content creation. I don't advise everybody does this kind of challenge, but there are some things that are really showing up for me as a creator by putting myself in this place of being creative every single day. So I'll share some lessons with you. You can live vicariously through me. You don't have to do this. But I'll share some thoughts. The more we create content, the better we get at it, by the way, hopefully. Here's some thoughts. So I've heard from my audience, they're like, sweet podcasting, Dave, what are you doing? 365 days in a row? I can't keep track of this. Every time I think I'm done, there's another episode. Yeah, I know. There's a lot going on. A lot of this is not really about the amount of content I'm creating as far as production and output. That's part of it. I get it. But more of it is for me personally as a content creator when I was starting to feel a little bit unchallenged. Like feeling like the machine was running itself, which is a good thing. I'm happy that the machine is running itself. The podcast is doing well and a lot of great engagement. Meetups are going good. The content creation is flowing. I haven't hit a wall yet where I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. So all these things are happening. The idea of doing this challenge in 2026 was to put myself in a creative space, a space where I have to show up on a regular basis. I have to be creative even on the days when I don't feel like being creative. And it's putting me into this space where I'm getting more ideas than I've ever had. Simply by being in a place where I need to deliver. I need to show up. I can't phone this in. Even batching out and recording a few episodes in ahead of time, I still have this, like it's kind of that Indiana Jones movie clip where he's running and there's a big boulder rolling behind him that's going to squish him like a bug. That's my content creation. It's rolling behind me, this behind me, and I got to keep going. If I slow down for a second, boom, it's going to hit me, knock me down. So that's what I'm feeling in the moment. So I thought I'm going to talk a little bit in this short episode today. I'll give you a short one. Some lessons I've been learning, how I'm finding my motivation and how I'm staying ahead. And maybe some things here could help you, whether you're doing 365 days in a row or you're just doing your regular podcast creation weekly, every second week, fortnightly for our friends across the pond. However you're doing your show, hopefully you find something here that's going to inspire you to keep going as a podcaster. That's my hope. One of the biggest things that daily content has taught me is it's teaching me how to be disciplined and not just be creative. The creative side has to happen, obviously, but it's the discipline of showing up. After 113 straight daily episodes, the biggest lessons are mostly around consistency, my systems and how I do what I do behind the scenes, and just learning to keep going when, at times, the motivation's low. I'm a human being, right? I have days when I feel it. I have days when I don't feel it, just like you. But I have this thing behind me pushing me forward, even on the days when I feel a little less Dave and a little less excited about getting on behind the mic. I know that it has to happen. I'm doing this right now in real time. It's like 3 p.m. This episode comes out tomorrow. And I know I have to get this done. I've made a commitment to myself. I've made a commitment to you. And I want to honor both. So I'm creating this at 3 p.m. If we're just meeting, my name is Dave. I work an overnight shift during the week. So I work from 11 at night till 7 in the morning, 5 nights a week in a row. And I worked last night. I've slept for an hour. I've done 3 interviews. And now I'm doing this. And then once I'm done this, I'll edit, I'll post it, get all the show notes done, and then go to bed around, 4:30, sleep, go back to work. That's been my life for over 6 years now. So it kind of got in a little bit of a routine. And what I found is when I got into a routine where things were working, for a non-daily episode, I found myself getting, well, a little bored because I was so far out in recording time that I missed this. Now, I've gone to the opposite extreme and I'm doing way more than I've ever done, but I did miss this. So, some lessons that I've learned over the last 113 days. Daily podcast creation tends to bring about and teach you a lot of repeatable lessons. First, that consistency builds credibility with yourself as a creator and with your audience. It also, by showing up every day, it proves the show is a real and reliable podcast. There's not a lot of podcasts out there that are doing 7 days a week, 365 in a row. It's not super common. There are others that are shorter. This podcast is not like time-bound. It's not 5 minutes. It's not 1 minute. It's an entire show. And it's a lot to pull that together and be creative and create all this content, but just showing up daily just gives some validity to the experiment that I'm on right now, but also the show in general. And I want this to be valuable. I don't want this to be a gimmick. I want this to be valuable for all of us in the process. It really helps me as well to focus on my own daily habits, on planning and creating little small goals rather than waiting for the perfect idea to jump into a podcast episode and not spending 5 weeks editing one podcast episode. I don't have time for that. I got to get it out the door. So not that I'm editing less. I'm editing myself as I record. I'm thinking through my content ahead of time before I hit record. It's all coming back to reducing my editing time as well. Just think about this from this perspective. Editing this many shows in a row also sharpens my skills when the mic is turned off and I'm doing the edits behind the scenes. So all of the elements of my show, from content creation to recording to editing to posting, everything is improving, not just the time on the mic. It's touching every element of what I do. So everything is leveling up, not just myself on the mic having time with you, the amazing listener of the show. Everything's improving. Daily output is giving me more chances to improve and to improve faster, because every episode becomes feedback instead of a final exam that happens once a year, twice a year. My final exam's happening every day. So it's putting me in this place where I have to show up. I have to do the thing. And that right there is enough motivation for me to keep moving. Now, there are people that are listening to this going, there is no way in podcasting that I could ever do what you're doing. And I don't want you to feel like you're missing out on anything. I'm asking you to put yourself into a place where you feel challenged. That's the key here. I want you to put yourself in a place where you feel challenged. Something that you haven't done. Something, maybe it's how you do your show. Maybe it's you've always been a solo podcast and you've never had a guest. The challenge might be to reach out and get a guest on your show. I got my hand up. I'd love to be on your show. Reach out anytime. howtopodcast.ca. Put yourself into a place where you feel challenged. If your episodes are 5 minutes, try a 10-minute. If your episodes are an hour, try a 15-minute. Put yourself in a challenged position so that you learn something new. If you can coast through life and create podcasts and it's like you hardly even break a sweat, then are you really challenging yourself? Or have you built this beautiful machine where you just plug in your inputs, hit record, hit post, you're done? Are you growing? Are you different? Are you expanding? Are you learning? Because the moment you stop learning, you start kind of sliding backwards a little bit. So keep learning and put yourself into a place where you're going to have to show up. I think you're going to find that your podcast is going to get better and it's going to get easier the more you do this. So that's some of the lessons I've learned. And I've had people say, Dave, how do you find the motivation to even do all this? Over the last 113 episodes, finding motivation hasn't been like super difficult because I do have this commitment to myself, my commitment to you, that this was something I wanted to do this year. But motivation usually lasts longer when it's tied to a clear why, when it's tied to a clear goal. When you run a race, you have a finish line, and you run the race, no matter how hard it is and how long it is, until you see that banner that you run under and put your hands in the air and people cheer. That's how races work. And for me, my podcast, my banner, my finish line is December 31st. And knowing that episode, the 365th episode of this show is complete, posted, and we call in the new year and starts 2027. That's my finish line. So it's a long race. This is a race of endurance. And my motivation is always there. Every single day, I'm closer to 365. 113 is closer to 365 than episode 2 in this 365-day challenge. So I'm getting there. I'm seeing some mileage. This is like a mile marker for me, mile 113. It's like I've been wanting to get to 113, and now it's here. And 213 is going to be right around the corner. So there's this thing that keeps me driven, and it's just the fact that I'm just showing up and doing the thing. Doing these daily podcast episodes really helping me to reconnect with the reason that I even started the show in the beginning. Episode 1, which is still getting listens, which I find interesting, 665 episodes ago, still gets listens. I see you in Rome. Thank you for listening. Like, it is the coolest thing ever to know people are finding the show and or going back into the history of the show. But episode 1 was all about your why. It is the foundation to everything that I do on the show, is understanding your why. And doing this daily content creation process has really helped me to reconnect with that why. I've never really lost that connection. I guess reinforced that connection might be a better word. It's this recognition of, hey, this is why we do what we do here on this show. This is who we do it for and why we do it. That it's part of a bigger thing. The other part of all this, about this motivation piece, is that I really don't have time to compare my show to anybody else's right now. I'm just like head down in my podcasting space, creating this content without worrying about what's happening around me and all of the amazing podcasts about podcasting that are out there. But I really don't have time to ingest as much content. So it's more about what's in my mind, what's in my list of topic ideas that I've been sitting on for months. All of these ideas that are stored up now have a release. It's like the dam's opened and the water just flowing out. I hope I don't run out of ideas. I don't know if I will, but it's nice to kind of flush out the system, I guess, in a way, of all of these things in my mind. And having these daily content releases really helps just to get that out and because that makes room for new things to find a home with me. The big thing here is how to stay ahead when you have an audacious goal like this to create daily content. How do you stay ahead? I podcast in the margins of life. This is not my full-time job. I don't get paid to do what I'm doing right now with you. I'd love to, but I don't. So I do this when I have time. So for me, personally, batching works. I'm recording episodes in advance, doing as many as I can at once. It works for me. Doesn't work for everybody. I get that. But for my workflow and what I'm doing and what I'm creating right now, I need to record as much as I can when I can. And there's days where I don't even come to my setup at all. I don't turn on my computer. I don't turn on my mic. I don't do anything. I'm playing with my grandkids. I'm working. I'm sleeping. I'm doing something. But I know that I have things in the bank that allow me to have some freedom in my day and in my week. So for me, that really helps as far as staying ahead. When we stay ahead in our content creation, it means planning before the pressure hits, not after the fact. Creators who do this kind of content creation en masse, we keep this like idea bank flowing, and we have to keep making deposits in that bank all the time. So I'm constantly got my radar up, thinking, what can I talk about tomorrow, today? What am I hearing? What am I listening to? What kind of inputs are coming to me that's filling my cup that overflows into what I do here on the show. That helps me to stay ahead. I'm always updating that bank and making deposits in that bank of ideas. For me, they're scrap pieces of cardboard that I have from work that I stuff in my pockets. They are little Post-it notes scattered across my desk by my computer where I'm recording. They are little clips I see on TikTok that I email myself a link to and go back to this. There are things I see on social media, things I hear on podcasting that spark me to go, I have a different point of view on that. I have something different to say about this, or I found something valuable that I think you could really enjoy. I'm constantly looking to fill up that bank and make that as my all of my riches are not in the niches. Sorry, they're in the bank, my idea bank. That's what I do. I also like to build upon the audience that's growing by having daily content. I see things happening on YouTube, which are encouraging. I see more people following the show on Spotify, leaving comments. All those things are indicators that things are landing. Whether or not you keep up to listening to a daily episode of the show, that's kind of your decision. You don't have to, and I don't expect everybody to do that. But for those that can keep up, then my gosh, great. I'm glad you're here. I think that staying ahead of your content just comes down to planning. It comes into the motivation we talked about, and it comes back to learning from what works and what doesn't work for you. How I'm doing my show may not work for your show at all, which is fine. But you need to come up with something that works for you. And if you don't have a goal for your show, it's really hard to hit it. The goal here is not to eliminate challenges. It's to make challenges smaller and more predictable, something that's easy to measure, and that pushes you forward. The more you can be pushed forward, the more you're going to see movement. And you're going to look back over the last, for me, 113 episodes now. And I can show you and I can pinpoint moments where I pushed through the uncomfortable feeling of having to do an episode, but I found great results by simply showing up. So, daily content has taught me that the goal of podcasting for my show is not perfection. It's persistence, it's preparation, it's progress. Those are the three things that push me forward as a creative person. I'm interested to know what pushes you forward. Let me know at howtopodcast.ca. I'll see you in 100 episodes and more. Thanks for being here. Hey, thanks for being here to the end of the episode. That means a lot to me. It means a lot to all the players and all the apps. You're telling the apps, this is a podcast worth listening to. So you've just made this show better. So thank you. Now, I've had people reach out to me and they're like, Dave, I need to start a podcast and I'd love to start. But when I come to your show, there's a lot of episodes and I don't know where to start. How do I skip the line? How do I get to where I want to be without listening to over 500, 600 episodes? How do we make this happen? I love what you do, but I want to just get going. Well, I do offer consultations on podcasting and helping you and launching podcasts and coaching and mindset and everything. Technology, interviewing techniques, whatever you can think of, I can help you with. And I have some paid offerings then to help you with that. So if you want to skip the line, great. You and I can work together. Let's figure out what you can afford. Let's figure out what we can do together. Always happy to help. Understand, though, this podcast is always going to be free. So you can bypass paying anything for anything because this show's always free. The meetups that we do, which is podcast consulting in a community setting, always free, twice a week. Over 2 years we've been doing it. There's always a free option. I'm not going to charge you to be here as a listener. But if you want to skip the line and kind of condense 500 plus episodes, then let's work together, you and I together. And I have some paid offerings. Reach out to me. We can talk about it. howtopodcast.ca. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to the end. I really appreciate you. And I appreciate you being part of this community. Always free, but always helpful. It's a How to Podcast series. Thanks for being here. Cheers. You're still here. Well, that is amazing. So this is a little bonus stuff at the end of the podcast. Some people here will put their worst of, like their bloopers. I like to put something valuable for you instead. Part of my approach as a podcaster has been, I approach this creative place as I do my music. I've been doing music for over 45 years. I have the same number of guitars that I have as podcasts, by the way, the little inside note there. I love music, and music is a thing that I can tap into, and it lights me up. It really does. As a musician, it's taught me how to listen, because when I play with other people, I need to know where I fit in and where to leave space for people and when it's my turn to step up. I need to learn how to play off each other. I think music has taught me how to be a better interviewer, because I don't have to lead all the time. I don't have to be the one up on the front of the stage. I'm content hanging back in the background and just kind of being there as a supportive person for the band. Somebody that's trusted, relied on. Somebody who knows their place within the music. All of these things I bring into podcasting. I bring into my connections and my interviews and my collaborations with people, because I just know what it feels like when everybody fits together really well. I've worked with some musicians in the past that are quite full of themselves and very difficult to work with. They have an attitude and they're pretty arrogant at times. And then I've worked with people, and those people that I mentioned are really, really kind of like abrasive. They could be the best musicians in the world, by the way. Like, they know they're good. They know they're really, and they are. They're really, really good. I've also worked with people who are not as good, like on a technical level, but they're way better to hang around with. Like, you would be okay locked in a van with them for a long road trip between gigs, because they're just good humans. Yeah, they could be better on their instrument, but I think I'd like somebody who's maybe a little less talented on their musician as a musician. It was more amicable. Like, I can actually hang out with you. I can really connect with you. That's more important to me than your skill. And in podcasting, I think we focus a lot on the skill set of podcasting to the detriment of the humanity of podcasting. I would much rather work with somebody who's a good human over a technically sound podcaster who knows all of the things. I'd much rather work with somebody that I get along with, somebody I can relate with, somebody that is real. That's how I want to do this show. That's how I want to show up in this world. I like the idea that we can connect through podcasting, and that podcasting gives us this beautiful advantage where we can be heard, we can connect, and we can grow an audience through podcasting. So you might not be the most technical person possible in podcasting. Really, if technology is not your best point, your best point about you and the thing you know the best, then maybe just be a good human. And by being a good human, it kind of covers for a lot of things that we're not that great at. So be a good human. There's my tip. Thanks for being here.